Talking to another good friend, another friend from my old job at BAM, and becoming a man, and it's gonna be exciting. So let's get to the intro.
All minds discuss other people. Gossip. Good minds discuss events. Great minds discuss ideas.
Jovan Garland, how are you doing, brother? Good to see
Thanks
you,
for
and
having me.
long time no see.
It's been a long time. So glad you could finally have me on your show.
well, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad to have you, man. So at the beginning of the show, typically I just take a deep breath with whoever I'm interviewing. So if you don't mind, join me in a simultaneous sigh where we draw on oxygen that we need so bad. So blow all our air out. Take the deepest breath you've ever taken and release.
I felt pretty good actually.
Yeah, sometimes like if I don't do it with other people, I don't do it. I forget. Well, brother, tell me about how you been. One, where you at these days, and number two, the main thing I've been asking people. I think my other friend Josh had a good way of putting it. Is most people have 3 to 5 main stump speeches, is what he said, that they come back to. Core stump speeches, core sermons, core things that I was trying to think of the word with my dad the other day. It's a hard thing, but it's like a stump speech or that core principle you come back to and that you like to tell others about. Um, so I'd like to talk to you about that. But first, so you're in the car, you're on your way to a meeting. From what I hear, you are a manager over there now. When we were in the trenches together at Little Village. And so you're still over there, but you are the manager now, huh?
Yeah, I'm a supervisor of the program now. So
Mm-hmm.
I supervise. Actually, I supervise two counselors. Last year it was all three
Oh
counselors.
wow.
They did some switching up, and so now
Okay.
it's I'm a senior counselor. So now I can only supervise two guys. So there's three guys over there, but I supervise two of them. And the third
Cool.
one, since he's already over there, we kind of still link up and do things, and I still offer counseling. Um, but my regional manager is his manager at this point.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, so I'm managing things over there right now, managing the program, making sure, the fidelity of the curriculum is being maintained, the program is being implemented correctly, and youth engagement is where it needs to be, and just making sure guys are overall doing BAM the way that they're supposed to be doing it.
And so becoming a man, the band program. I talked a little bit about it with Diego. We were trying to remember. He remembered them. I was trying to remember the six principles of values of BAM. And let me see if I can get them now that I went over with Diego. So it's okay. So integrity,
Mhm.
self determination, accountability, respect for womanhood, positive or anger expression, positive anger expression.
Positive anger expression. That's correct.
Okay, okay. And what's the sixth one?
Visionary goal setting.
Oh yeah, goal
Yeah.
setting, visionary goal setting. That would be one that I would forget. Visionary goal setting.
Like, why would you?
Yeah,
Why would that be the one that you would forget?
that's a good question. Well, because I personally have a difficult time setting visionary goals for myself. I don't mind doing like sort of functional goal setting, like, oh, I got to do this and this and this before, so I can get this done. But visionary goal setting has always been a difficult thing for me. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is you've always reached beyond that. You've always had vision. It's like opposite of what I'm talking about for me. Being able to have, to reach beyond my grasp has never been, I've always sort of just kind of gone with the flow. But you're somebody who's always reached, from my perspective, reached beyond their grasp. Like you've always like had bigger ideas than like where you were at, or like what maybe if I was in your shoes, I would have. Would that be so? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think your assessment is correct for sure. I have I have things that I want to do in life, and I'm always looking. I'm always looking at my vision, and I'm always looking at things that I can do to be able to get to that vision, to be able to get to maintain that, and get to where I need to go in life sooner, but with patience as well. And yeah, like there's no, I don't have a victim mentality. I believe in there's opportunity out there, and I believe that whatever you want to do, that you can do it. You just have to be able to put your mind to it. And so, I mean, I even look at how I got this job over at BAM. 6 years ago when I first started. Um, well, prior to that, I had interviewed for the job twice, and I got turned down
Okay.
because they were requiring a master's degree. And then the third time, I was a little discouraged, and so I ended up, I ended up going to the interview because they were having this big interview fair. And so I
Yeah.
ended up going, I interviewed, I did the role play, and I completely knocked it out the park, and I got the position. And so, for me at that point, I realized, I'm like, you know what? I'm not a victim. Like there's opportunity out here. It's about, networking. It's about putting yourself in the right environment. And it's pretty much just about having the will and the determination to not quit.
Yeah.
Self-determination is one of our core values. So it's like, I had the self-determination to still be able to do that and to still be able to go after it. And ever since then, I've just knocked it out the park.
Yeah. I mean, ever since I've known you, of course, I didn't know you before BAM. Ever since I've known you, you have been somebody who has optimism and not accepting things for like the way people talk about them. Like going deeper has always been something that you have been has I've been impressed by. And even looking and so you are on TikTok as well, right? You've always been somebody who's been on like social media and video. I mean, it helps that
Yeah.
you have, a great smile and good looking guy. Someone like
Thank
me,
you.
they a beardy guy like me, most people tune off. But uh so you are on TikTok, and a lot of things you talk about from what I've seen when I catch your TikTok is about like not accepting the status quo. Would that
Hmm.
be kind of a theme that you come back to?
Yeah, it's a variety of things I talk about on TikTok. I talk about politics. I talk about relationships and just things. Honestly, I'm speaking from experience and things that I've learned and things that I've come across, different people that I've interacted with, different people that I've spoken over the years, and
Oops.
and just like my experiences over the years, um, made me I believe qualified to be able to talk about certain things. So I talk about a variety of things. Quite honestly, there is no filter to what I mean. My TikTok, if I had to sum it up, I would say it's just a no filter TikTok. Like it's a free speech TikTok for me. And until they take my videos down, then I'm going to continue to be able to post the things that I really want to say. It's an outlet for me to be able to express myself, emotionally, and
Mm-hmm.
to not be judged. And I know there could be consequences that come with that, but at the end of the day, I believe that the choice that you should make is always the brave one. So
The brave one. And that bravery is definitely something that I remember you for. And in my correct me if I'm wrong. Well, my memory, and I don't know if it looks like this wouldn't be something that you like you said, free speech, no holds barred. But when you came on as a BAM counselor, you like one of the things that I heard when you started was he is a Trump supporter. And during that time in Chicago, we were working with, in the inner city of Chicago, and for an African American guy to be for Trump, like that was something that I really took notice of, because I was a Trump supporter, but I was a closet Trump supporter. I was not going around telling everybody, you know what I mean? Like I remember a couple of times in our band meetings, it would come up that there was just a lot of negativity about white Trump supporters, and I was just kind of, it's like that meme of like,
I mean, well, if you look at the current climate now today, I think people are starting to warm up to Trump. But you know what?
Yeah.
The thing is that, I didn't run around telling people I was a Trump supporter. I was asked questions. I was asked very specific questions, and I believe that you have to be able to state your truth. And so for me, that was my truth.
Yeah.
So I didn't just come
Yeah.
out and was like, hey, I'm a Trump supporter. Like, I actually agree with some of the things that he's saying. It was more so, hey, I believe this. Somebody was actually saying something, and they was like, I believe this. And I was like, well, I don't believe that. And they would tell me why and things of that nature. So that's how it came up. But I wasn't necessarily, I wasn't shy about it. I just believe that it was just
I
my
was
belief.
shy about it. I was very shy about it. I remember actually, when I first got there, I didn't realize how dangerous it was to have that view, because because when I first got there, it was the election, and when I got to Michelle Clark, I was working at Michelle Clark. It was all African American school, and I remember being at the lunch table, and they're like, "Who do you vote for, Mr. Judah?" And I was like, "Well, I voted for Trump." And they're like, they got real quiet in there, and it actually, like, they started telling people, and I had some people come up to me, like teachers, and they were not, they had a different view of me, and not a good view of me after that. And so it kind of, luckily it didn't get spread too far. But there were a couple guys I remember in particular, a couple of students that were like, "Mr. Judah, I'm with you. I agree." Of course, it was against Hillary Clinton at the time, and it's like not a lot of people had a great view of Hillary.
Yeah, and to go back to your original point, for you it was dangerous, and that's not something that I would advocate for you to go around saying that. But me as a Black person, I do believe that I do have a certain amount of privilege, and so I believe that people are more likely to listen to me because and actually take notice a little bit, right? They're not quick to kind of just write me off. And so for you, it would have been dangerous, and I think that's for me where I can say so wholeheartedly and confidently, like, that's absolutely fine. And I don't give a damn what anybody thinks about it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's pretty awesome. Well, can you tell me? So I saw your video on, I guess it's your video on Trump 2024.
Yeah.
What can you reiterate? And I want to get back to, like, I guess we're kind of touching on some of your core beliefs, but what is it? And maybe you could tie in some of your core beliefs, your core, like that core sermon you come back to, about why you would, or why you think Trump is a good candidate for 2024.
I love this question.
Yeah.
Well, because you know what? I believe that there is an attack on masculinity, and I believe that Trump represents what true masculinity is, right? True leadership, being able to tell the truth, being able to be upfront and honest, and make the hard decisions, even when it's not pretty, being more logical versus being emotional, right? And I think that is what I gravitate to. That's the reason that I gravitate to him so much, is because he's brutally honest, and he says the truth, and he says things that are logical and common sense that people in our world today, in our society, is just kind of delusional about. And for me, it's like, okay, I can respect somebody like that. And then you look at what he did, even when the time when he was in office, like his foreign policy, how he was very strict on certain countries and taxing people and, just putting his foot down, basically putting America first. And for me, it's like, I have no ill will towards any other country. I've been to Mexico many of times now. I have family who's Mexican, and like I've been to the country. I love the country, but that has nothing to do with it, right? I represent America. For me, I'm an American citizen, and so for me, I want what's best for the country. I want what's going to be best for me. And I guess it's hard for people to see that, because, especially the people in my community, because for the mere fact that they don't feel like they're part of America anyways. So, why should we, I guess, in their view, alienate other countries? But I don't think that's what we're doing. I think if you feel like you're part of something, if you're part of America, then you're going to try to defend the country to the best of your ability. You're going to, be like, no, this is my country and this is what we need to do better. And so, there's a lot of layers to it. But I think, to answer your question, I think Trump is the best candidate because he's strong. He's strong-minded. And I think you need to be able to have that. I think you need that masculine presence. You need that logical thinking that God has blessed you with, and you can't be emotional about things. You need to be able to make the hard decisions. I personally couldn't be in that position because I'm too emotionally attached to the outcome, right? And so, again, I have family who is Mexican. And so, they'll look at that and they'll be like, well, what about this? What about that? And, I would kind of sway a little bit, like, I would kind of sway. My kids, I would kind of sway. I'm not going to lie to you. But that's one thing that I respect about Trump, is that he can put that to the side and he can do the job. He can do the job, and he's done the job. And our economy was in great shape. Money was flowing. And right now, I just don't see that happening. And I don't see any other candidate that can actually be tough with foreign policy. I think that's what I enjoy the most, is the fact that he was tough with North Korea. He was tough, and he made alliances with, Russia, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, if you want to talk about the morality of it, that's a different story. But in terms of what's best for the country, if you can form an alliance, with someone, I think that's better than, having an enemy.
Interesting. Yeah, there he does seem to have like a strong yet anti-war position, which I think is very interesting. And similar to you, I wanted to bring this up, is somebody who you are strong and tough on when it comes to certain roles. You're very like there's a certain way, like everything I've heard on your TikTok is very it comes back to the role of man as being strong protector, and but yet you are also a very sensitive, like kind of like you just said there, that you are a very tender, from what I've seen, tender and sensitive guy with your family, what I've seen with your family and with your faith. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that? Is that, first of all, is that track, or is that is I off?
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. Listen, I have a heart. You know what I mean? Like I when it comes to external forces, what matters to me the most is the people in my four walls. That's who I would go to bat for. That's who I'm tasked with. That's who I'm supposed to protect and provide for. Right? God tasked me with that ability to be able to do that. And they're the most important, thing to me. And so when it comes to them, like, I have the ability to be sensitive. I have the ability to be, I guess you could say, kind of swayed in a way. But when it comes to external forces, I just can't take excuses. I can't. I have to take, because at the end of the day, like, you need somebody to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I think just the people in my four walls, I'm able to have a little bit of a balance, but I think they get to me a little bit more because we're so close. I'm emotionally connected to them, and everybody else, y'all gonna get this work. So.
Well, that's cool. I like that.
I think, I guess to say that, people are really, I don't want to make it sound like I don't care about everybody, but people I really care about, I would kind of take some of that that some of that, I don't know what you would call it, but I would soften myself a little bit more. For
Yeah.
those
So
people.
you're much more likely to take criticism from people that are from your close family.
Yeah. Hmm.
Now, I mean, I know that you're married to a strong Latino woman, and how does she feel about Trump? Did you get? Is that where? Is there a difference there, or is she kind of on board with you on that?
She definitely has a different point of view. I would say I think she's more liberal than anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the idea, the thing is that at the end of the day, she knows how I feel, and she knows
Mhm.
that perspective on life.
Well,
And
just a minute. I lost you there for a minute. Say that again. Something happened. Go back to
oh,
that. She knows how you feel.
she knows how I feel, and she knows that she knows what I stand for, and but she knows my heart because she's there with me every single day. So she knows I have good intentions. She may not like what I say, right? And she may not agree with it. She'll be the first to tell you, like, yeah, I don't agree with that shit. But at the end of the day, she respects me, and she tries. I guess she tries to stay as far away from what I put out on social media as possible. And I actually do that too. I try to separate it. I don't like bringing my family onto social media because I don't want them to be
Oh,
attacked. You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
no, I mean, no, this is fine right now. I mean, I've mentioned
Yeah,
before
yeah.
that I'm married and I have kids. This is
Okay.
different, but I'm saying in terms of, posting them or basically saying, oh, my wife is on board with certain
Yeah.
stuff. It's just, I try not to mention it. I kind of build my own brand
Yeah.
centered around me and what I believe.
Yeah.
And, but she's, at the end of the day, she still loves me. Right. And that's what marriage is supposed to be about. Loving the person, for better or worse. It doesn't matter if you
Yeah.
agree with their viewpoints or not. You could begin to understand it, but you may not still agree with it.
I like that. Yeah. And that's I think that what that ends up producing probably is a balanced perspective as both of you guys work out your views on politics. Because in the end, politics doesn't really matter, right? I mean, it matters, but like it doesn't matter as much as love for
Mm-hmm.
the people for God and for others, right? And
Yeah, for sure.
so do you, where sometimes so I asked Diego, and I ask you, where are you at with your faith? Are you I remember you being a pretty strong Christian.
Yeah. I would consider myself a Christian. I don't go to church often. I don't read the Bible as much. I do pray.
Mhm.
And honestly, I should be more intentional with my faith, because I believe
Mhm.
that we need more strong people believing in their faith, especially in this country, because in this country, you just really don't feel God as much as you
Mhm.
should, especially
Yeah.
with everything that's going on and certain agendas being pushed. You just don't
Yeah.
feel it in the air, And so for me, I think we need more people like really, really pushing their faith. And I think that's it, because it's important, right? So for me, I think I could do a little bit more work in that area, but I do believe in God. I
I
believe
think we
that
all could.
God exists. And
Mhm.
I do believe there are certain, I do believe in certain things in the Bible. Certain things in the Bible just kind of gravitate to me, right? Like
Mm.
a man should provide and protect, like, like a man who finds
Mm.
a wife finds a good thing, like,
Mm.
those type of things, like those things gravitate to me, like in my soul, in my core. When
Mm.
I hear it, it's like, oh, I felt something. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it feels good. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. Amen. Oh, that's good. Well, that's something that my dad has always. So I did. I actually do every week. We've kind of gotten this rhythm of talking with my dad on here. But yesterday, I asked him some of the same question I've been asking people on Ramble Source, and one of the things my dad always comes back to, and it was one of the 5 things he talked about, is read your Bible, and it's something that has been a challenge to me because I don't know if it's our generation or one thing is we just don't read. Do you read books?
You know what? No, I don't.
I don't either
I
very
think
much.
it is important. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
think we transition to audiobooks, but I think there's so much more value in reading. physically,
Yeah.
because there's so much work that goes into it. You pop it in your ear phones or whatever, and you listen to an audio, and you just kind of, sometimes you can actually tune out, but it takes a lot more to just actually read page by page and line by line and really think about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Somebody told me, or I saw it online or something, made the case for reading physical books um over audio, and I can't remember really what, but I remember thinking that their points are really good. I think one of them is that, like you're saying, there is a more intentional practice, whereas if you're putting in your ear, like you said, it's just kind of like it's going along with everything else you're doing, which on
yeah,
one hand, I remember Jordan Peterson talking about how that can we can listen to a lot, we can get a lot more information that way, because we can work while we're getting information. We can double up on the on the work and activities,
yeah.
education and work, doing them together,
I'm glad to
working
hear you
with our
talk about
hands.
Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is a brilliant man, and absolutely love him to death. And I'm still trying to figure him out. He's just so
Really?
articulate with his thoughts, and the dude is just like, he kind of loses me sometimes, but it feels really good. I don't remember what he say all the time, but I remember how he made me feel, and
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, somebody once asked, well, somebody just put it out on the internet. It was a pretty liberal person, and they said, why, they truly wanted to understand, why do you people, talking about the people that like me, that like Jordan Peterson, like you, why do you like Jordan Peterson? Give me some points. And like, there wasn't, because a lot of what he says isn't necessarily new. But to me, the biggest thing about Jordan Peterson is that everything he says very carefully, and is very studied. Like, he has read everything. He has, and if he has a certain position on something, he's read all the books on it. And he's a
Yeah,
counselor like you and I. I've sort of strayed away from the counseling, although I want to get back into it. You're still doing it, and you know how it is if you don't have the right stuff to back it up. That's what I loved about the Becoming a Man program, is it was backed up by, the band father took these practices that worked for him, and I feel like youth guidance came in and backed it up with really good um, literature and
yeah,
studies that showed why it worked.
hmm yeah, for sure. Yeah, Jordan Peterson is he's a good man, and I think I like the fact that he stands up for what he believes in. He's not afraid to cry, right? And I think
Mm,
that's pretty. That's what kind of gravitated him to me as well, or me to him, was the fact that
yeah.
he's willing to cry, but he's still able to display that masculine ability, that he has. Like, he's still able to be masculine,
Mm,
and then he has a deep, profound respect for men. And I think that's lost
mm-hmm.
in society too. It's like, we don't have a deep, profound respect for men, right? We talk about all the things
Yeah.
that's being built around in this world by majority of men, right? You can make the case that there are some exceptions to the rule, right? But just because there are some exceptions doesn't mean to disprove the rule, right? Majority
Yeah.
of men have built society, and they
Mm,
aren't given the credit for that, right? They're the ones that's up on the light poles at night, and during the storms and the rains. They're the ones building the bridges and the roads and making sure that we keep this impossible infrastructure functioning. Like, we don't get enough
mm,
credit for these guys, and the consistency that goes into doing stuff like that. And so when Jordan Peterson talks about that type of stuff, I'm just like,
mm,
yes, it's a breath of fresh air. Like, we have
mm-hmm.
value in this world. Men have value, tremendous amount of value in the world that's trying to eliminate patriarchy, in a world that's trying to eliminate masculinity, make it seem like it's a bad thing or it's too
Mm-hmm.
toxic. Even though those two things don't even go together. Like, it's
Yeah.
he's one of those people that stands up for it, and is truly a good man.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that have really rung true with me, is when people talk about the patriarchy. He says, "What patriarchy? Tell me about the patriarchy." Because he says, if you look back, when everybody talks about all this patriarchy, men being, oppressing women and stuff, he said, what you see is You see you do see men oppressing women, but for the majority of our world, and even in America and in
Yep.
the West, you see man and woman working together as husband and wife, mostly trying to survive. He said mostly people were trying to survive up until 100 years ago,
Right.
and he talked about how important it was for men and women to work together. And though there was oppression, there's always oppression, there's always hatred, but
Absolutely.
but we tend to focus on that instead of focusing on the majority of the cooperation that happens.
Yeah, and I've put videos up about that, on my TikTok, and
Mm-hmm.
I've had women come into my comments, and they'll attack me and literally try to drag me through the mud and tear down men. And when I'm trying to build up men. I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
build strong, confident, assertive men that's going to be great for
Mm-hmm.
society. That's going to be good leaders, that is in tune with their emotions, that understand their emotions. And that's because a man who doesn't understand his emotions is a dangerous man, right? Like a man,
Yeah.
that's how you get those school shooters. That's how you get those people who beat women, who oppress women, when they don't understand their emotions and they just act out of their emotions all the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you get, so no, so I'll try to, as much as possible, lift up men, and because they need it. If they're going to be the workhorses of society, if they're going to be the ones that's the logical ones that makes the tough decisions, they're going to need all the support that they can possibly get, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can talk about women and their role in society, and women are extremely important. I would believe that everything that we do in society is for women and children, and so but I think it starts with us uplifting our men. And so, I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that about Jordan Peterson, man, because he really just touches on that, and it warms my heart.
Yeah. Well, and dude, it warms my heart to talk to you. I know you got some places to go, and we're out of time. But I, from what I can tell, some of your core things that you love to talk about is not being a victim, the
Yep.
strong roles of men and uplifting men and their role in society, and being honest, speaking the truth even when it's not popular. Are those three that sort of you come back to?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was gonna say, one of the things that I come back to is also work ethic. I think work ethic is
Mm,
is, is important, especially amongst our
mm,
young men. This is one of the things I want to teach them, is that you got to work hard. You got to be consistent in your work too, because how you do everything is how you do anything is how you do everything, right? So if you're lazy in one area of your life, you're probably going to be lazy in another area, and it's probably going to be the most important area that you need to be focused in. And so, that's extremely important. If you look at Trump, his work ethic is insane, right? He's not like Biden right now, taking breaks, taking naps, and taking vacations and things of that nature all the time. He got work done, and that's what you need to do in order to build a strong society, to maintain a strong society, and to maintain ethical and principle and morals amongst our men, amongst our women, amongst just our society in general. It's like it starts with that. But how you do anything is how you do everything. So I firmly believe in that, amongst
how
everything
you
else
do
that you said to it.
anything is how you do everything. How you do anything is how you do. I like that.
Yeah.
Faithful in much, faithful in little, faithful in much. Right.
Yeah.
Um. What what can you help? What do you do? Like, what could I do to work on my work ethic? Like, what is something that has helped you cultivate a work ethic, a good work? I guess you can have a bad work ethic, right? Like, but a healthy work ethic. It's easy for me to say.
Well,
What does it take? What
it
do you
always,
do?
I mean, it all starts in your mind, quite honestly. Like, you
Hmm.
know, whatever the mind, wants, the body will follow. So it's like you have to, if it's something that you want to do, something that you believe in, and something that you think is important, you're gonna do it. It's just gonna naturally come, right? So if you believe that, you were meant to work with students, and you want to provide them with the best value possible, then your work ethic is gonna show. If you're not confident in what you're doing, you don't mentally believe it, your body will not, it won't find a way to make it happen. Like, I know that there's times where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to my group, like I kind of want to reschedule. I'm kind of tired. I don't want to
I know that feeling.
emotionally involve myself into that. But then I changed my mindset really quickly, and I'm like, I got some real shit that I want to share with them today. You know what? Now I'm excited about doing it. Right now, I want to talk to them about certain things. Right now, I want to talk to them about what it means to be a man, or masculinity, or things that's going on in the world. Or I remember this person said this last week, and I really want to follow up about that, because I actually thought about that. I think it's just about changing your mindset.
Hey, sorry. I think I'm having. We have a storm here, so I'm having a.
Oh no, you're back. I see you.
Okay, you're back. So, sorry. So what I'm hearing from you is, which is really interesting, tying your interests, tying motivation into work ethic. So not just having the duty, not just going by duty, but actually tying, like coming back to the interesting things about what you need to work on to keep that work ethic going. The motivation seems like it's really important for having a good work ethic.
Yeah. Motivation is definitely important. I think that you have to, but again, it's just about changing your mindset. What are you in it for? And if you know what you're in it for, then you're gonna likely be more willing to do it, and it's just gonna come more natural to you. Like, if you're doing something that you don't want to do, then it's gonna be really hard to kind of do it. It's gonna be really hard to get up in the morning and be excited about it, like, because you really don't want to do it. And so if you're doing something that you really want to do, then you're gonna be more likely to do it.
That's good. So finding.
But I would also say, even though you still should have duty and honor, because I mean, you cannot want to work out, but you know that you have to in order to to be healthy. But then even that's changing your mindset too, right? You think about it, it's like, okay, I don't want to go to the gym today, but I know that if I go, I would have completed my full 2 weeks of going to the gym nonstop, and I'm that much closer to getting a six-pack. I'm that much closer to being healthy and feeling really good. I know I'm going to feel good by going to the gym, so I should probably just go do it anyways.
But what you're talking about is tying, or I should say, and that's one thing I learned in BAM. You say and tying visionary goal setting with integrity, with sticking to something, but like using visionary goal setting to motivate you, to like you said, tying your intellect into your need to make money, duty, your need to follow through, the integrity, your need to be an integrated person. Don't forget, what I hear you saying is, don't forget to tie your mind into it. Use your imagination to get past the, like, oh, this is going to be hard, the pain, to get past the pain.
Yeah,
the vision.
Right. The mind is super powerful, right? What we think about is probably going to come to fruition, right? Right. So what do you think about the most is, my old mentor told me this. He said, whatever dominates your mind the most is probably what you're going to be the best at. Right. And so, the mind is super important. And what I see a lot of people do is, and I've even done this myself, is like, I would forget why I'm in it, why I'm in it for, like, why am I doing this? And so, I would just think about the feeling, or, just how, I would just operate mostly on my feelings, and then I don't use my mind as much. And I'm just like, I forget why I'm in it. And then when I don't go to the gym and I feel bad about it, I'm like, oh, that's what I was in it for. My goodness. Like, if I would just thought about that and I really just put that in my mind and ingrained it in there, then I would have been, I would have gotten myself up to and go to the gym.
Excellent. Well, thank you, brother. I won't keep you any longer. Really appreciate you having you on. And would you be able to come on again?
Absolutely, man. I love doing it. So,
where can people find you other than Ramble Source?
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok, and I actually have a podcast that I'm doing with another coworker of mine from my other job that I do. And so, it's a podcast called Sipping and Tripping. And so it's a podcast that we talk a lot like this, and we talk about politics and relationships and dating and marriage and things of that nature. And we sit around, we have drinks, and we talk about these things, right? It's a very relaxing environment. And so it can be silly sometimes, but it can also be a very insightful and a very mature conversation around those things. I see you got my thing up. I appreciate that. But you can
Jovan, Too Good.
Yeah,
I remember, and on YouTube you're Too Good TV, right?
That was my YouTube.
Okay.
Again, it's about consistency, right? So I kind of took my YouTube down from I changed the name from that, and I just put it as Jovan Too Good because it was Too Good TV. Right. So it's more of
I like it.
It's more geared around my podcast nowadays.
Okay. So excellent. Well, I'll be tuning in and be pointing people your way. Appreciate you, brother, and
awesome.
Have a great meeting. I know you got to go. Is it a band meeting? I know what
yes,
those
it
are
is.
Like. Those can be fun. Those can be good.
I got to present too, so I got to say some things.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you go.
Yeah. We don't start until like 10 o'clock, so we should be okay.
Yeah, everybody will be late. All right, brother. Man. Well, I'll talk to you later.